and welcome to another episode of Purlfect Pairings. My name is Gayann, she, her.
My name's Nicole and my pronouns are she and her.
And I'm Daniela, she, her.
And before we start, let's talk about the fact that we've got an extra pairing here today. So I think we do share a little bit of audience with your audience. But if you don't recognise this beautiful lady, it's Daniela from A Knitter's Suitcase. Yes.
Thanks so much for having me. It's so exciting to be here with you too. And you know, everything we've done this weekend has been amazing. So I'm so happy and nice to meet everybody there who doesn't know me.
So maybe before we go any further, we just want to acknowledge the traditional owners of the lands on which this episode was filmed. So we've got the Wurundjeri people of Naarm in Melbourne, and then we've got the Dja Dja Wurrung and Toongaroong peoples, all of the Kulin Nation. And the Dja Dja Wurrung and Toongaroong people are from the Greater Bendigo region. So that's a hint as to where we're going to go. We want to pay our respects to elders past and present and acknowledge that there is an often fraught relationship between Australian farming and Indigenous land rights, and really acknowledge the contribution of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people to the Australian fibre community over the millennia. So we have just spent some time this weekend at the Australian Sheep and Wool Show.
It was such a good time. We went up on the Friday, I think to get the best selection.
Yes, absolutely.
And we went for the day, although I think you could make an overnight of it.
Yes.
Or because there is so much, it can be a bit overwhelming. And then I have gone back onto social media and found a couple of stalls that I missed, and I was I get that regret. Anyway.
So this is Australia's biggest fibre market. It's often referred to by locals as Spendigo. It is held at Bendigo, which is about 2 hours sort of northwest of Melbourne, which is Bendigo is a beautiful town, and unfortunately we went directly to there and so didn't get much footage of the town. It's a city, of the city itself, but it was a big centre for the Australian gold rush era, so it's actually a really beautiful city to visit, so we might have to go back next time.
They've got a fabulous art gallery there, which is something you could do if you needed a break from the wool show, and I understand there's a bit of a little satellite fiber market as well, not on the showgrounds themselves, but a separate event, so we didn't hit that.
We ran out of time.
Yeah.
I think maybe we've got a little bit of footage from the day, not a huge amount, but it might be time to have a little bit of a look at some of the, not behind the scenes, some of the day at the Bendigo or the Australian Sheep and Wool Show.
Enjoy!
tuck the leg back underneath here. They stick the foot fair up the proverbial there. Doesn't matter how you do it, long as you get it off and get it clean. No skin on the wool, no skin off the sheep.
So that's just a little snapshot of what was going on at the Australian Sheep and Wool Show. So as you can see, it's very much an agricultural show. It's a very Australian setting, basically in a showgrounds. It's not as beautiful as some of the footage we've seen from Rhinebeck and some of those.
Well,
I don't know.
it's got its own charm,
I think
let's
so.
say.
I think. I mean, we don't have many deciduous trees that would turn color, right? It's just not.
Yeah.
Look,
Australia.
I'm a country girl. I grew up in a country area, much smaller than Bendigo. I don't know. It's flat. It's practical.
Yeah. I mean, we were not there for the landscape, were
It's true.
we? So,
No, it's true. It's true. But they do sheepdog trials, so that's a really important component of the show.
very
it's
fun to
and
see.
Just
very
all the
fun.
judging. Yeah, the judging of the sheep and the fleeces. And it's beautiful to see, especially some of the younger competitors that are the upcoming generation of farmers that get to be celebrated during the event.
And what we didn't show is there's lots of machinery and things like that as part of, I guess, kind of marketing and stalls.
Like any kind of trade show, I suppose.
Yeah, it's a full on trade show. Yeah.
And maybe I'll kick it off because some of the wool that we found was actually not in any of the kind of woolcraft and show pavilions, but actually right on a trestle table next to 4 pens of sheep down at the end. It's a farm called Leeson that I saw last year but didn't purchase anything from them, but they have Polwarth Merino wool that is just the absolute softest
it's a dream.
yarn that I think ever felt.
And actually in the footage that you saw just before, the beautiful footage of the weaver, so that's Jackie made this. We went and saw her after Gayann had bought this yarn, and she predominantly uses
Leeson.
Leeson?
Yeah.
Leechin or Leeson?
Leeson, so it's Leahcim. It's a farm in South Australia, and they do basically farm to yarn production, and I think it's all in Victoria as well, or not Victoria, sorry, all within Australia in terms of production.
And it was amazing to see they had the sheep there in the same store next to the table with the yarn,
Right.
and the most beautiful sheep
know,
among the other things.
I wish I had taken some photographs of them.
Yeah.
Confirmed. Sorry, Australian grown and processed. So
Beautiful.
there you go.
All right, let's keep going.
Well, I can talk about the plans that I have, but it relates to a project that we
All
Well,
planning.
well,
Let's talk about that then, shall we?
Yeah.
it's the Cecil Shawl, and you have to forgive me because I can't remember the name of the designer off the top of my head.
The designer is Joanna Harriet.
Yeah, and it's a project that uses a fingering weight yarn base. I think you're probably best to use a bit of a more neutral color for that. And then it highlights 3 mohair silk or sari silk type yarns. So I found 3 from Owl of Athena. It's her baby sari, 74% baby sari alpaca, 26% mulberry silk, in these 3 colors, which is latte rose, fuchsia glow, and water. Whoops, I just realized I have that upside down. But they're just amazing and so soft, and will be a beautiful contrast to that for the Cecil Shawl, I think. So the point was, because we were all going to be together, that we would pick a project and buy the yarn at the show. So it would be a really special kind of commemorative piece, and we could always remember our time together.
Yeah, absolutely. So excited to do this with you ladies. So excited. So my selection for that project is, well, I got just the fluff at Bendigo because I've got some yarn at home in my stash that I'm happy to use. That's a mystery yarn, so I can't, say much about it. It's just like a light oatmeal color, and these are amazing colorways by Maximu. And I just went to the store, looked on the table, and they spoke to me. I didn't have to choose; they chose me. So that's my selection, and I'm loving it, and I can't wait to cast on. Yeah, absolutely.
So Maximu, I don't think we've talked about his yarns before. He's a young man who's just finished his undergraduate at uni, actually.
Congratulations, Max.
Yeah. And he does beautiful work, and we've got a little bit more of his stuff to show in a second. But it's also just lovely to I don't know, see some young men getting into fibre dyeing as well. So
absolutely.
All right, so I went, surprise, surprise, a little bit bright and wild with my selection. So I really wanted to get fluff from the Knitting Man Recommends from Karen. And these ones, this one jumped out, absolutely. And then I thought that these were lovely. I really wanted to get a variegated skein for one of my splashes of colour. And so that is my little combo. I am a little bit undecided as to what my neutral base will be. I did get this beautiful rose grey from Great Ocean Road Woolen Mills, who we've talked about before. We'll link to their episode.
That is a beautiful color and a colorway that they don't have all the time. So when you see it, you have to be on it.
It's from a single animal.
Yeah, it doesn't surprise me.
So I might use that as the base. I'm still playing around with some other things I've got at home. I do have 1,200 meters of this fingering weight though, so you're definitely going to see it again in some form or other. So we'll see how we go with that.
Yeah.
Can I just say that?
Yes.
Yeah. When we went to see the Knitting Man Recommends, I mean, getting to her stall looks like stepping into an artist studio, really.
Yes.
Because every skein looks, one of a kind, and the way she plays with color is mind-blowing.
Well, it really is, because she paints the yarn.
Yeah.
I think is one of the methods that she uses for her dyeing.
And she unashamedly does say that her colorways aren't necessarily that they're very much small batch, not necessarily going to be able to reproduce them exactly as they are. So
So I was hypnotized by this and I decided to get it. No plans at the minute. The name is Holden, which is quite nice, honestly.
Yes.
And it'll be turned in something really special.
These are all from her range called the Mr. Fluffy range as well. So they're only one of mine had a tag. I think she ran out of time to tag and name them all, but this is called Curse Me Deeply. And they are a 70% mohair, 30% kid silk blend. So yes.
Well, that's not the only fluff that we got. I went a bit fluff mad. Maybe we'll go back to Maximu. I bought quite a bit of his 75% brushed baby Surrey alpaca and silk blend. This color is called, I'm holding it upside down again. It's called Acid Runoff. And I've been after this color for a long time to hold double with these skeins that I got from my mum.
Oh,
She gave me a sweater quantity of this color the last time I was back visiting her. So I think this is going to make a beautiful, perhaps a champagne cardigan by Petite Knit. But I think it's going to knit up beautifully.
Yes.
And I really wanted to swatch it last night, but I'm working on a few other projects that I want to finish.
Who isn't?
Because I saw a single skein of it on his stall once, and he didn't have the rest, and I was like, oh, I just want like one kind of dye lot, and I've got it now. It's perfect.
Fantastic. Do you want to talk about your other fluff while we're here? Because it's linked.
Fluff-a-rama. This is unbelievable. How gorgeous is this color blend by Laura et al. Of Athena, called Parnasus Major. Again, it's her same Surrey silk blend. And I have bought that to hold double with this Jasper Yak from Spinning Yarn Weaving Tales that I have had in my stash for a really long time. And I think it's the name of the sweater, I think, is the Cloudburst sweater by Susanna Summer. Susanna Summers, who Sosu Knits on Instagram.
Is it brioche?
I think that it is brioche.
She's the brioche queen. Yeah.
Yeah, it's fabulous, isn't it?
It's
going to be
amazing.
Yeah, we've talked a little bit about Al of Athena before, but Laura just does stunning.
Oh, the colors, all of her colors really.
All of her colors are beautiful.
Spoke to me.
Yeah.
No, can't wait to make that.
Sorry for the crinkling, but as we head towards the end of the fluff section, I want to show this one. Oh, look at it. So this is a 72% kid mohair, 28% silk set of 10 grams mini skein by My Creative Garage, Vanessa kind. And again, that's another thing that got me. That got me as soon as I walked there.
Yes.
You know, you don't know me, you must know I adore bright colors, you know, I'm being a bit daring with my colors as well. So this, I got it in my hands and couldn't let it go. So
I actually have footage, which you've already seen, of
Going
Daniela shopping around at this beautiful stall, My Creative Garage. Just gorgeous colours and colour work.
Love her colors.
Yeah.
I think she's probably, do you know, I have one regret from like each yarn market I go to? She's probably my one regret.
Yeah. And you know, I've got a plan for it. So I would like to knit the Pink Velvet by Andrea Mowry. If you don't know it, it's got a very quite elaborate color work yoke with fluff. Yes. So my plan is to use this set, maybe marling the colors along the yoke to avoid just the sort of stripy effect. I think it'll be phenomenal. Stay tuned.
You have to let me know when you make that, because maybe I'll make one too. I love that sweater, and I have been, it's in my queue. So another, if you've been watching us for a while, you'll know we like to support initiatives that are good for the environment. So some of our yarn purchases at Bendigo reflect that. I got from Fibre Arts Shed, which is a fantastic mill in New South Wales, what they call yarn over yarn. It's 50% reclaimed mill fibre and 50% cheviot. It's a light Aran kind of 10 ply weight, and it's got these beautiful flecks of color in it from the mill waste.
Which I think are going to be really hard to photograph.
Yes.
So you're going to just have to take our word for it that there's this beautiful kind of almost pastel apricot pinky greeny,
Turquoise a little
bluey.
bit.
Yeah.
I see it as more like a bit of blues and yeah. So I'm hoping to make an Albina McLaughlin sweater, maybe Saglan, with it, and I'll yeah, that'll be really exciting. And I've been wanting to make some of her designs. I think she's a fabulous designer.
Yeah.
And I can't wait to start working with that. I know I say that about it's like literally every yarn that I bought. Like it's really invigorated, you know, kind of my love for knitting and my desire to cast on more projects. So,
which is just what you need.
Yeah.
More projects.
Just the perfect yarn. It really looks like the perfect yarn.
It's gorgeous.
Absolutely.
And it's beautiful and soft and yeah.
To
Like a really
continue
cuddly sweater.
the multi-coloured theme.
Yeah. Now, you must know that these two are the best enablers. Never go or always go to a yarn fair with them because they know all the best people, all the best makers, the most passionate, the most, you know, fantastic people. And Gayann was wearing this fantastic jumper when we went there that I had eyed on the podcast and on her Instagram already. And well, then she took me to the stand where she got the yarn and I couldn't resist this Alpaca. Is it focusing?
It probably won't.
Yeah, it won't.
Yes.
So this is Australian alpaca and recycled sari silk. So an absolutely fantastic and unique sort of composition to this yarn by Fiber Naturally that are very good friends of the Purlfect Pairings.
Yeah, so we'll link to our episode with Gail in the show notes. But at that episode, in the episode you'll hear Gail talk a lot about how she, during COVID, she got some sari silk over from a friend of hers in India who needed some money coming in, and she's worked out a way of essentially shredding that and flecking it through the yarn, which was in the yarn that we both bought at that time, and this new...
Yeah, unfortunately, again, it's very difficult to show on camera all the specs that are in this yarn, but it's purple and bright yellow and green and turquoise and red and all sorts. So
stunning.
That's my choice for what I think will be a Farnham sweater by the Knit Pearl Girl. And I was now reading on the label, Macclesfield is the place where they are from.
Yes.
Which is really funnily the same name of a town nearby where I was living in the UK before moving here.
Oh yeah.
Everything. We borrowed everything. I mean, we're a colonial little colony.
It's an incredible coincidence.
I love that Gail has started producing the lighter colors. Like I love the brown with the pink flecks like I'm wearing. But she had this one. She had like a blue. Were there any other colors?
There was a pink
one.
Yeah, so using a natural alpaca, is it just alpaca? Yeah, using a natural alpaca base, and then with the sari silk through it in the lighter colours. So there was one that just had flecks of pink sari silk, and so it gave this pinkish hue to the yarn, and a bluey turquoisey one.
Hot tip. I've got a hot tip. If you go onto the Fiber Naturally website and they don't have it, shoot Gail an email and I reckon she will make some for you.
Or let you know when she next has some made at least. Yeah. I will admit to also having a sweater quantity of the matching yarn.
You can't resist it.
All right, I treated myself to something that I've been eyeing off for a long time. So this is from Avalifine sheep, which is a single rare breed of sheep. They come from the Macedon Ranges, so about sort of, again, hour and a half out of Melbourne. cool climate wine region as well. And Avalifine sheep does all completely natural or completely natural dyes. So this is a matte, using madder to give it this colour. And I have been eyeing off their yarn at markets for about 2 years now. And sort of been unsure what I was going to make with it. So this time I came prepared. And I'd already decided on a really a fairly simple cardigan. So it's the Ramona cardigan by Elizabeth Smith. And I wanted to use that because I just wanted something to really show off the yarn. And it's sold as a 8-ply or DK, but it's actually quite a heavy, a little bit heavier in terms of it. So it's more probably like an Aran weight. It's about 316 meters per 200 grams, but I'm very excited with that purchase.
How do you like to shop best for yarn? Do you like to have the pattern and then look for the wool, or are you a wool first then pattern? This is a bit of a chicken egg question, I think.
I think for me, it's usually the yarn that gives me the inspiration. And then I may have like, not a proper queue, but a panel of patterns that, you know, are inspiring me, but I usually never start them until the yarn has spoken to me and, you know, I have found that match. That's perfect, yeah.
I think I'm that way as well. Yeah, I think I'm mostly yarn first. Though I'll have a skein or a couple of skeins of something that I decide to use for something, and then sometimes I'll need to buy extra bits for it.
Yeah.
What about you?
I think I'm both ways. So sometimes I'll really be drawn to a pattern. So I have to make this. What do I have? If I don't have anything, then it's out to find something to match it. And then sometimes that's probably more how I am now, but when I first started knitting, it was more of like kind of bowering different yarns that had built up my stash. So at Bendigo, we were able to introduce Daniela to a lot of our yarn friends who you have also been introduced to on previous episodes. And we did quite a bit of shopping with them as well.
That's been amazing. I must say, I'm ever so thankful for Gayann and Nicole for taking me to Bendigo. But the best part of it was, you know, connecting with this local community of makers and designers. And, you know, I sometimes like to say that knitters are always all knitting from the same bowl in terms of how they share their passion, their connection, and meeting people in person and touching the yarn together and exchanging, you know, inspiration and ideas has been mind-blowing. Really, at one point I couldn't talk anymore because I was sort of overwhelmed by not only the yarn, as sometimes happens when you go to a yarn fair, but by the richness of it all. Really, I was. So I'm ever so grateful, ladies. I'll remember this forever.
Let's talk about some of the yarn that we got from our friends. Do you want to start with?
Yeah. Well, if you've seen the previous episode by these lovely ladies, you'll know that they're about to start a fantastic knit along for one of the sweaters designed by Susanna Kartinen, who is Sana & Co. Well, actually, Nicole and I have met through one of her test knits.
We did, yes, for the Claire in Paris shawl.
Yes, absolutely. And so, I mean, I've interacted with Susanna a lot, and it's been, now I feel she's a friend, really, and so it was amazing to meet her. But of course, I can't resist this knit along, can I? So I'm gonna knit the EXP sweater, which is, I don't know, they're all beautiful, but the one that inspires me the most.
And I think it's Susanna's favourite.
Oh, I'm
It's
happy
really-
to know
so-
that. I'm happy to know that.
I hope I haven't misrepresented that, Susanna, but I'm pretty sure you said that before.
And Susanna is and Karina of Louie and Lola have created together some beautiful sets for that jumper that I think were quite a hit at the festival. But I just wanted to, you know, be inspired by what I saw at the market, and so I decided to go some Tandy yarn that Nicole and Gayann have spoken, you know, a lot about, and I was really excited to try. So 100% Polworth wool non-superwash, which is going to be, let's say, the main color, and my contrast color is this Colagirl Collective, which is a base containing yak in it, so that gives it like that dark undertone. Yak is one of my favorite fibers as well, and I think the two match perfectly for, you know, that amazing jumper. So.
And so Colagirl Collective, Gayann has started a few episodes ago. I think you showed a whip of, she has lots of beautiful fluff as well. So is it the Rain and Shine Shawl by Stephen West from that same, from Bendigo last year.
Okay, from Bendigo to Bendigo. Yes.
They're absolutely beautiful.
Oh, that's fabulous. You were talking about the kits from Louie and Lola. I'll just, I'm sorry about the crinkling, but I'll show you my kit, which is
fabulous.
The Old Stone kit. It's a 2-color kit. Polworth fingering for the main color. It's called Berry Delicious, and the contrast color that I'm using is called Old Stone, which is a superwash merino fingering weight as well. Those kits are available from the Louie and Lola website, along with the other kits,
and they're available until the 31st of August. The Cal, though, just a reminder, kicks off on the 12th of August, and in addition to the EXP, there are 3 other sweaters. So there is an easier version. The Jubal sweater is a easier type of sweater. There's the Viva with a little intro to brioche. The EXP, which I'm sure you'll see a heck of a lot of because we are all across different podcasts. And then also that beautiful overlay sweater from the from the spring issue of the Pom Pom magazine. So if you haven't seen our special episode on the knit along, go back and watch that after this.
That was a contender for me, the overlay, but I
love that one too.
So much choice. All right, so
sorry, I'm going to crinkle again.
Yes, I've got some more crinkling. I will add that a lot of the crinkling though is compostable, yes, which is excellent. So that tends to be what a lot of the makers in Australia are using for their little kits and that sort of thing at the moment. So I had to, and look, we are friends with, and I think we've mentioned her before. We haven't interviewed her yet, so she's high up on our
agenda.
On the agenda. Just so many wonderful people to interview. But yes, we will definitely give you a chance to meet the beautiful Tess from Fluff N Nonsense. So Tess is a dyer that relatively new dyer that comes from a chemistry pharmaceutical background and has a lot of skill with working with understanding how things work together and so forth. And I had pre-ordered, in fact, a couple of her special fade kits, which she introduced at Bendigo. So this first one, which is just gorgeous, it's called Fallen Leaves, and it's a really autumny, I love autumny colours, a really autumny coloured fade kit. You might be able to see it a little bit better on the back there. So I actually got 2 of these kits because I'm planning to use them together with a more neutral colour to do the Simply Chic shawl by Lisa K. Ross. So that was my first little plan from Tess at Fluff N Nonsense. And then she also had this other kit which really appealed to me. I've got no idea what I'm going to do with it, but I just had to get it. It's called Home is Behind, and it's beautiful faded green kit. So these are 75% superwash blue-faced Leicester, and with some nylon in them. So I'm not probably going to make socks out of them. I'm not sure what, but they would be beautiful sock kits as well. So yeah,
Absolutely.
effectively equivalent to 100 grams in each little pack.
You should make some socks.
I will not be making socks. And I had to, you know how sometimes you just see something that is so glorious. This is called Autumn Light. Again, Tess Fluff N Nonsense. It's a 55% superwash blue-faced Leicester and a 45% silk. It's in her Decadence lace range. And I've got no idea what I'm going to do with it. I bought 2 with the lace weight. I think that's, I think it's about 800 meters per skein. So there's plenty. I'll hold it together with something or hold it together with each other. I have no idea, but I'm very excited about it.
You could do a summer tee with it held double. Would be beautiful.
Could do.
Such a beautiful luster to that base.
Or a lace shawl if you feel so inclined.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Anyway, it will go into the stash until something speaks to me. But yeah, beautiful stuff from Fluff N Nonsense.
Absolutely.
And then I got the Kangaroo Soft Kit. Whoops, that way. Which is dyed by Tess, and I would just love these colors together, the wine color and the camel. And
camel, I'd say.
Cocoa
and hot milk. So another thing I can't wait to cast on. I'll probably have 18 whips in our next whip episode, but that's
Who cares?
And just flagging that the Kangaroo sock is a new design by Sana, by Susanna Carton, so Sana and Co. Yeah, and this is a little
Not
probably
long
about a
ago.
month ago, maybe.
Not long ago, yes.
Yeah, but they're beautiful either single color or in the striped version, which this is meant to do.
Yeah. Brilliant. So another friend of these 2 that I got to meet, and I was determined to go and meet her after watching their episode, is Dani of Half Baked Hand Dyed, who, if you have seen her episode, is kind of the queen of self-striping, if I may say so.
I think you can.
Yeah. It's, I was blown away by hearing how much intensive handiwork she needs to put, and she enthusiastically puts in her self-striping. And I am absolutely in love with the intensity of the colors and how this book could just sit on my desk as a little, home decor, really. But it won't. I've got a project for it, so I'm gonna knit the Traffic Island socks by Nicola W. It's a free pattern on Ravelry, and what I like about it is that the final effect is not simply, straight stripes, but it creates like a chevron pattern that I think will be fantastic in these colors. Really will. Yeah. And we played that game that Dani had there.
Yeah, so there was a little bit of footage earlier. Dani has a little game. She did it last year at Bendigo. She did it again this year, where you put together And if you've seen our episode, you've seen that that she often does little pegs with colour wrapped around them to decide on her stripes. So she runs a little competition every year for someone to design one of her self-striping colourways. So fingers crossed.
And I also got these from her solid colours that are actually for a friend, not for me.
Right.
But
Right.
yeah, we'll see if they get to my friend or disappear in the trip. But the intensity of the colour, the tone of it, they are fantastic. And I must say, very good price point as well. Absolutely. So yes.
And so if you've seen our episode, Danny names all of her tonal colorways after films. So we've got the Run Silent, Run Deep, which you also have a sweater quantity of.
I do.
And
Calamity Jane. that's
for that beautiful purple.
amazing name.
I have a skein of that color too.
Oh, do you?
Oh, look at that. Yeah.
But it wasn't just yarn that we bought either, was it?
It was not.
Can't stop at the yarn.
I finally got a copy of this amazing magazine that features a piece by Nicole, and it's a beautiful piece of writing, and the content of the magazine in general is really, really extraordinary. Beautiful photographs, lots of stories of knitters, very intense stories that, you know, once again tell us how much our knitting means, not just as any hobby, but as, you know, a way to connect, to let our creativity talk. And I recommend this one, I really do, and any future issue, I'm sure. Yeah.
All right, what else did I get? I love Liz's work from Crystal Cat Stitchery, and we have shown our we have a little matchy project bag, but
We got that at Bendigo last year.
which we did get at Bendigo last year.
Another tradition.
Liz has started to do Crystal Cat Stitchery, these lovely corduroy bags. I'm a big corduroy fan. So this is quite a big bag, which I don't have many big, pretty project bags. I tend to use a lot of leftover bits and leftover bits and pieces bags. So this is just absolutely gorgeous with this lovely ribbon tie, and her bags are just beautiful quality, gorgeous.
And it's
work.
got pockets, doesn't it? In the
It
inside.
can house
It
this
can-
one or any of your jumpers.
Absolutely.
It features pockets too, right?
It does have some
Inside.
pockets on the inside as well, in a
Difficult
lovely
to show.
contrast.
And I picked up this gorgeous Notions pouch from Liz.
Not pink. Not pink.
No,
She doesn't like pink.
Yeah, I love which is just these beautiful, I think they're Liberty fabrics.
I think they are.
That she's quilted, and it's got a beautiful backing to it, nice and sturdy. And I can't wait to organize all my Notions, which are currently just everywhere, scattered about. So it will make me much more efficient. Thank you, Liz, for that. I think one of the real beauties of Bendigo is the connections. So we've talked about that a little bit with what we've discussed already. But when I got to one stall and looked up and saw somebody who I have been absolutely idolizing on the internet, and I think I screamed, and then I think she screamed.
Yeah.
It was a moment.
was fabulous, right? Just really, really lovely. And that is the very talented Vera Marcoux from Vera Loves Knitting is her Instagram handle. She does amazing designs. I'm dying to make her cabled jumper that's knit this way.
Yeah.
Is that vertically or horizontally?
Yeah.
Anyway, as opposed to knitting this way. But I found another pattern that actually wasn't aware of, the SEO trot jumper, and I picked up a copy of that pattern from Vera. I love a good turtleneck. So I'll be stash diving to see if I've got something suitable for that.
I really enjoyed the jumper she was wearing. Now I'm afraid I don't know the name, but it's a V-neck with a relaxed fit and still the very textured sort of like slip stitches, maybe something sort of like that. And then it was also beautiful color that I love, like mustard. I couldn't keep my eyes off that jumper really. So
she does so many really lovely patterns.
We've had our eye on the Tulipani cardigan, which also
is a new.
Yep, that's a new, I think it's her latest pattern, and there's a beanie version as well. So you have a way to automatically gauge swatch the pattern.
And I think it's important just to shout out to one of the other really lovely things about Bendigo was, you really do run into a lot of people. It is Australia's biggest fibre market. So we met a couple of our watchers out there. We actually ended up sitting next to the lovely Lee and having lunch and meeting her delightful husband, who was
the best supporter,
the best, and a big enabler. So we love Lee's husband. I forget his name, sorry Lee, but apparently he watches our podcast too. And we did meet a couple of other lovely people who came up and said hello. And then there were a few that we were hoping to run into that we missed. So maybe next year.
Sorry.
So big, so busy.
Next year.
Yeah.
All right. I have one other thing that I have to, we have something that we have to showcase. So the incredible Daniela recently started making project bags, and if you watch her podcast, and if you don't, you need to. She talks a lot about her new little project bag business, and she brought this beautiful sort of smallish sock bag. Lovely contrast fabric on the inside, absolutely beautiful, just really elegantly, really beautifully made, a little bit padded. So such
Thanks
a gorgeous
so much.
gift.
That's a fantastic review.
And you can buy your own project bag on her Etsy store.
Yeah, of course I've got my own that came with me, my knitting projects. You may see I really love colors, so if that's your thing, please come and have a look at my shop on Etsy and at my podcast.
But it's not just the sock bag that you do as well, because I have this gorgeous, you could put a sweater quantity in
Yes,
there,
definitely.
This is unbelievable. It has a flat bottom, so it will sit on the ground or on a seat on your park bench when you take it out to knit, because it has these beautiful handles, side pockets, and I reckon I can even put my water bottle in there if I need to. They're
pretty sturdy, yes.
Inside pockets, maybe we'll get a photograph of that so you can see it properly.
It's a bit difficult.
And then I love this, it's like if you kayak, right, and you have like the seal around your kind of your tummy when you have the kayak so you don't get wet. I love it. And you just soup like that, and then it's closed.
This is, let's say, the first edition. I've been experimenting with this kind of bags, so there are none in the shop just yet, but they are coming, because I think, you know, a good sized tote with all the features that a knitter needs, like, you know, easy closing at the top. That's something that, you know, a knitter can really treasure.
And I have to flag that Danny picks absolutely gorgeous fabrics for all of the different components of the bag as well.
That's my thing, you know.
Absolutely beautiful.
Putting colors together in my jumpers and accessories when I knit and when I sew, of course it's the same. That's my feature, let's say.
Well, we have run out of things to show you.
Well, that was a lot, and a lot of joy coming from it when shopping it, when admiring it, and now what will come when we knit it.
Right?
That will be the best part, of course.
Mm-hmm.
So,
And just the mindfulness of being able to sit down and enjoy that knitting time that we carve out for ourselves.
and all this yarn we've bought together, we've chosen together, will bring, so memories of this time, and for me, definitely a feeling of, gratitude to these ladies and to, all the wonderful people I've met, and of this very special weekend I've spent in Melbourne with these lovelies.
Well, if you enjoyed this episode, please give it a thumbs up. Please think about subscribing. Make sure you think really hard about joining our CAL, our knit along with Sana and Co and Louie and Lola as well, if you haven't already. There's still a lot of time for that.
You could follow us on Instagram at Purlfect Pairings, and maybe drop us a comment if you went to Bendigo, what your favorite purchase was, or what favorite part of your haul.
And also make sure that you're following
Anita's Suitcase on Instagram and on YouTube. That's the name of my channel. So you'll see more of what's happening with these yarn over there. Thank you.
All right. Well, have a lovely day wherever
Thanks.
you are.
Yeah, thanks so much for watching, and until next time,
Thank you. Bye.
happy knitting!
Happy knitting.